Hi, I'm Ian. I was born in Recife, Brazil, which is in the northeast. I am adopted. I was adopted in 1984. I was born in 1983 sometime. They think it was around July. I had a bone test to get that date. My adopted parents had a stillborn baby prior to going to Brazil and didn't want to try again, so through a friend of theirs who had adopted somebody from that area, they decided to go down there. And they went down there and adopted me and brought me back, and I've never been back since. I'm 31 years old, and this is my story of going to Brazil. Alright, so I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I lived here ever since I was 16 months old, all the way to 15 years old. And when I was 15, my parents were in the middle of this huge, ridiculous divorce, and I didn't want to be a part of it or be anywhere near it, so and I was a bad kid. I got in trouble with the law. I skipped out on my probation and I moved to Orlando, Florida, just on gut instinct. I knew it was some place that I needed to be. I didn't know why. Got into some trouble down there. Got put on probation. Completed that successfully. And then tried to build a life for myself there. Stayed for about a year, and then a little over a year, and then I moved back to Minnesota. Started getting back into my old ways once I got back here, and realized that I needed to go back to Florida. So I signed up for college down there, and I moved all my stuff, and ended up staying down there for almost 7 years, 6+ years. And it was good. It was healthy. I had my shit together. I, finished college as much as I could. I was working down there a little, doing various jobs, trying to get as much audio recording jobs as I could, because that's what my degree was in. And then some stuff happened, and I wanted to move back. So I moved back in 2006 and worked every job you could possibly imagine. I was a projectionist for a while. I was doing audiovisual for hotels, IT, everything. So now brings me back to 2014, today, and a few months ago my girlfriend decided that she no longer wanted to be with me. So I looked at this opportunity to review my life and figure out what I needed to do next, because I've never felt more lost than I have right now. One thing that has always been on my mind was the fact that I was adopted, and I always got these I'm gonna do this someday. I'm gonna go live in Brazil someday. I'm gonna go chase after my biological parents someday. And it's really easy to get distracted here in the U.S. You got a car and job and family and payments and friends and music and more work, and you just get distracted. That's like the best word. So I took this opportunity to look at my life and go, okay, what can I do now? What should I do now? and everything just kind of pointed towards this, is go to Brazil. I have, my car's paid off, my student loans are almost paid off, I'm really close to getting level. And so I asked my father to get in touch with the missionaries that helped adopt me to see if they were living here in Minnesota or if they were living in Recife. And he had the number to their daughter, Adriana, who actually lived here, or lives here in Minnesota. And he called her, he went out for coffee with her, and I just happened to call at the moment that they were out to coffee together, and I asked if I could join. I went over there and we talked, and she's an amazing person. She's very, very integrated into my life now. It's like having a second mom. She's amazing. Her whole family is just awesome people, and I really appreciate them in my life. So my plan was to wait till September of 2014 and essentially sell as much of my stuff as possible and use that money in order to get to Brazil and live and survive there. My family pretty much did an intervention. My sister, my dad, and then eventually my mom too, tried to convince me that this was a dumb idea, that I shouldn't move to a somewhat third world country, not really, they're pretty industrialized, but and leave the comforts and the safes of the United States. And I don't see eye to eye with that mentality. Like, worst comes to worst and it's an adventure and I can always come back. Like, nothing's preventing me from not being able to return. So they all talked me out of going in September. My father particularly, he's very concerned. He goes, how's this? I'll go down to Recife with you in September for 2 weeks and you can check it out. And then after that you can make a decision. And I told him I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I can commit to that. I don't know what I should do. And I let a couple days go by. I talked to some of my friends about it, and it was pretty unanimous. They all thought that I should do this. So at least check it out before I make any rash decisions, as they put it. So September 15th, I'm going for 2 weeks. My dad was originally going to come. I was very concerned about that. I thought that I'm going to be hypersensitive and emotional enough being there, and now I have to worry about his safety as well as mine because he's older and he just had a hip replacement like 9 months ago, and I don't know, this kind of seemed like something that I needed to do on my own without them. He called me one day and he was like, how do you feel if I backed out? And I told him, I'm like, honestly, a little relieved. I was very worried about you going. You didn't seem like you wanted to go. This is something that you felt you have to do to protect me. And he means it in the best way, but he still treats me like a kid. Most of the time. That's okay. So in his place, Adriana, who lives here and her parents live in Recife, is going to go with me instead. I felt a lot better about this. She speaks fluent Portuguese. Her family's down there. She's also going to have the energy to want to go out and see stuff and do things, and that's all I want to do is input everything I can while I'm there and emotionally prepare myself for what it's going to be like to live in a completely different place on the planet, with different rules and laws and just the way you cater yourself in everyday business. So The countdown's down to like 27 days, I think, till I leave. And I hope you guys continue watching, because I'm going to record as much as I can of this journey, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks.